Hey there.
I'm about to record, you know. Welcome to the Gunning Truth, the Tuesday show, which gets released on a Wednesday. And it's time to discuss all things Arsenal. Arsenal, unfortunately, drawing 2-2 at home, and the world has gone mad. You've got opposition fans messaging you, Arsenal drew. I mean, what's going on here, people? Man City is the best team. Focus on Manchester City. Don't worry about Arsenal. We'll worry our own selves. But yeah, very disappointing draw for Arsenal. I nearly said loss. Arsenal could have lost. Arsenal could have won by a comfortable margin. The XG was 3 point something to 0.6 or something like that. And Arsenal still found a way to concede two really easy goals. So that was the most disappointing thing. But that is neither here nor there, as they like to say. But unfortunately, Arsenal need to get their story straight. So this is what Arsenal lined up with. They had Aaron Ramsdale in goal. There's rumours, there's talks of David Raya soon getting a start. I don't think Ramsdale has done anything wrong. Obviously, once again, the inverted right-back situation. So I always thought that Arsenal's not going to play with two inverted fullbacks, and if Zinchenko wasn't going to play, then it seemed like the Thomas Partey situation will happen. Now, the two things. Number one, Arsenal won the first two games playing the inverted role. And obviously, within that first game, we had Timber playing, who's a much better passer of the ball than Kivior, and can take risks going into midfield, as well as being able to defend. So that's the difference between the first half against Nottingham Forest and then the two preceding games. Obviously, Tomiyasu there and now Kivior. So obviously, the left centre back / left back has been the main concern. However, the mistakes has come from the right side. So when Arsenal had situations against Crystal Palace where they attacked, it was obviously mostly Tomiyasu's side. But the Nottingham Forest goal and the first goal was on the Thomas Partey side, and then obviously the corner that was given away and the poor defending was on the left side. So it's more to do with this inverted system that Arsenal's not quite getting right. And then from an attacking standpoint, sometimes it looks like the passing is good, the passing is crisp, the passing is fast. However, on other occasions, it's a little bit slow, timid, especially when you've got the low block teams, which is why we had this formation, because we've got Thomas Partey coming into midfield. And then also with that is where the Pereira, especially from Fulham, put a lot of pressure on the Ben White / Thomas Partey area, especially early on. And yet again, the third time that Arsenal are conceding a goal within the first minute. So that is a little bit disappointing. But yeah, I think it's very difficult to analyze how these things tend to take place. So we take it as it comes, as they say. So only 3 games in, and obviously Aaron Ramsdale in goal, Thomas Partey the inverted role again, and now we've got 3 centre backs playing. So obviously Ben White has been a right back, has played a slightly inverted role, but obviously closer to Bukayo Saka. So he was right centre back, left centre back, or sometimes your middle centre back of a back 3, Saliba, and then Kivior at left centre back. So the problem with this is that you had Zinchenko at left back, you had Gabriel at left centre back, you had Saliba at right centre back, and Ben White at right back. And if it ain't broke, don't mess around with it or don't fix it, type of a thing. And Arsenal are trying different ways. So there's really so many ways that you can look at this. At the end of the day, Arteta wants to find a certain structure to the team. He wants to have different ways to play, different ways to attack, and to a large extent it hasn't quite worked out in the first 3 games, because our attacking capabilities hasn't looked that great, maybe just in small spurts. Lots of chances created, yes, from the outside looking in. When you just look at the stats, the XG is better, but when you actually watch the game, then it just seems like, for example, in midfield, it's a little bit slow with Havertz at times. Havertz has other qualities that he brings to the game, but certainly when he has to actually get into the box, he's not always there. You had a situation where Nketiah to a large extent in the first 2 games, and then obviously Trossard in the first half wasn't great. Martinelli also not looking himself. because it's not that Zinchenko, Xhaka and Martinelli left side, and it's not the Ben White, Odegaard, Saka right side, and that is a key change to this Arsenal formation. However, Declan Rice was good once again. I wasn't too happy with Odegaard's performance. A little bit lackadaisical is the wrong word, because he does work really hard, but his passing at times wasn't great, and also the chances that he had. When he did try to shoot, actually finished the goal quite well, but unfortunately Havertz was offside in the first half, so that was a very good finish. That's a typical Odegaard finish, but there was a moment in the second half where he skyrocketed, and he had quite a bit of space, and he had other players that he could have passed to, so that was extremely disappointing as well. Just as I quickly take the lineup off and start playing the slides from the game. So once again, I was happy with most things. It's just that it's just not quite working at this moment in time. And when I say I was happy with most things, it's the idea behind what Arsenal are trying to do. That is the thing that I'm happy with. I'm happy with the fact that we are trying things. I'm content with the fact that we've got 7 points. I would have wanted 9 points. We've got Man United upcoming, and then Everton away after the international break. So from that standpoint, it's a little bit disappointing. But what happens when Arsenal start to click? Then we will see a different thing. So it's going to be very interesting to see what Arsenal or what Arteta does with the team on Sunday. And we just have to accept our fate, so to speak. We have to accept that in certain circumstances that you can't have it all your own way. A couple of people also said it was a little bit disappointing once again. First of all, our home form from a defensive standpoint, we looked dodgy once again, as we have looked for most of, I think, post Newcastle United in January. Since then, we've looked very dodgy in terms of the defensive standpoint and the way that we are able to defend certain situations, especially when we have loads of chances. And then somebody also made a good point that Fulham looked putrid in their first 2 games. They were battered by Everton. They still ended up winning 1-0, took their chance, and then they were battered at their home ground against Brentford. They didn't look good defensively. They didn't look good from a wide defensive standpoint, so their fullbacks didn't defend well. Their wide players didn't assist their fullbacks, and it just seemed like they came with a certain type of a plan. And obviously with the first goals does change games. And from that standpoint, you just had to see that very quickly Arsenal looked like they were in problems. The shape was all wrong, especially with the way that we are trying to play. Obviously the first goal coming from a mistake from Bukayo Saka, who didn't have a great game, but still here and there created opportunities. And then obviously his pass, and there was confusion in terms of when Thomas Partey inverts, when he goes into midfield, then Ben White needs to just cover the right centre-back as well as the right-back positions, and there was only one player there, and it was Pereira putting pressure on, and obviously he was able to score. Footwork may be an issue from Ramsdale, but you really can't blame him. In fact, it was quite lucky the way Pereira scuffed it. Maybe if Pereira hit it the way he was planning to hit it, then Ramsdale would have been able to save it somehow. Maybe with an acrobatic save, but because he scuffed it, it actually looked a bit weird. Weird from his point of view in terms of how he scuffed the ball and the ball going into the net eventually. So, very disappointing, but we obviously had loads of chances to be able to rectify things. I thought in the first half it was a very disappointing, and then obviously in the second half when we made the changes, the Vieira change especially, he was exceptional, and Nketiah was exceptional as well. So you have to then also, while you are discrediting and criticizing Arteta, he actually made the changes, which is something that needs to improve this season, the way he changes things when it's not going well. So on the one hand, you've got to understand that he's trying things. It's a huge gap, and disappointingly so, that the new signing was obviously injured with a knee injury, Jurriën Timber. Things were just starting to develop in terms of what he brings to the team, and unfortunately got injured, and that then created obviously the fact that we had to now change things constantly. But I'm hopeful that it will be a normal back four, Zinchenko, Gabriel, Saliba, White, come Sunday, because Man United are not a low block team. They obviously going to try to counter-attack most of the time and also be compact but I'll have a look at the lineups when I get there. Righto, so that is the Arsenal 2 Fulham game. I did my Monday reaction. I said I wasn't happy. I'm still not happy because I feel we could have won the game. We could have been a little bit better. We need to stop making these mistakes. But you have to also sometimes accept certain things, and that is the reality at the end of the day. So we leave it at that when it comes to those things. That is the Arsenal lineup, and we just have to accept it at the end of the day. And then we move on to the Arsenal women. So obviously there's some pictures going around. I see my face is now away. There's some pictures going around that is, let me see if I can make it smaller. Let's do that. Boom, boom, boom. That is live. Where is this thing now, man? Doesn't want to go smaller. Let's do it this way. Let's put the camera in front of it. Video capture. There we go. Awesome stuff. Righto. So Arsenal ladies obviously involved today when it comes to. It doesn't want to move. There we go. Finally, man. There we go. So obviously our new signing, Alicia Russo, was pictured in training. Beth Mead is back from a serious injury. There is our new signing, World Cup winner Cardina from Barcelona, the ever-dominating Barcelona and the ever-dominating Spain. So we've got a fantastic left centre-back to replace Raffaelli that left earlier in the season. That is Beth Mead over there, and Kim Little, Alicia Russo, our new signing, and our fantastic holding midfielder Leah Valti. So obviously Arsenal in serious training. I think they got back yesterday, so they probably did a couple of tests. That's Ilstedt, the bronze ball winner from the World Cup, and she can play right and left centre back. So very exciting Arsenal team, especially if everybody's fit. That is Chloe Lacasse, top scorer for Benfica last season. She's a striker / winger. So we've got attacking threat as well, the Arsenal. There's Amanda Ilstedt once again. So I'm really looking forward to see what the Arsenal ladies can do. I think it is next week where they play their Champions League qualifier. It's if you finish third in the WSL, you play a group stage qualifier where there is obviously 4 teams in a group. They all play in Sweden at Linköping, and then there's a Paris team, not PSG, a different Paris team that's playing, and then a 4th team as well that's participating. So obviously 2 semi-finals. So if Arsenal beat Linköping, who is the hosts, then they play very likely Paris in the final. If they win that, then they go through 2 slightly tougher teams, the likes of the second team in actually it could be the winners of the Netherlands, or the second team in Netherlands, second team in France, second team in Spain. So those type of teams are going to be playing. I think Man United will also be in a qualifying system, so that's going to be very interesting. But I'm really looking forward to seeing the ladies play, and at the end of the day I think that it's going to be a fantastic season for upcoming season for the Arsenal ladies. So let's see if I can bring something else on. Yeah, I just think that it's going to be a great season for Arsenal, and we just have to take it day by day, as they say, and just hopefully we get to do the job. And the most important thing is to win football games. That is the most important thing, winning football games, and that's basically it. Right, let's see what I can do with this. Let's put it on the full screen. Right. Okay, so this is Arsenal versus Man United. I'm going to put that on the full screen again. And this is what I think the teams will line up as. There could be 1 or 2 changes because obviously it's only Tuesday. There could be injuries and training and all those type of things. So we're going to see how that goes. But this is what I have obviously selected when it comes to this thing. Let me just see if I can close it. Image closed. Arsenal women closed. There we go. Right, so there we go. So we've got there we go. Arsenal versus Man United. Obviously a big game for me personally. I can't stand these people. And then their supporters are all over. They are crap. But they can't be crap if they beat the mighty Arsenal. So this is what I think Arsenal will go with. Obviously I've got a back 4, but Zinchenko is basically in midfield, very close to Thomas Partey. So we've got Ramsdale in goal, Ben White at right back, not right centre back, Saliba at right centre back, Gabriel at left back, and then at inverted left back, Alexander Zinchenko will obviously have an Anthony to deal with, and Bruno that will probably go into those spaces as well. Whereas Rashford and Martial will cover the other areas of the pitch. And then, so I've got obviously Thomas Partey as the 6, even though he wears number 5. And then our left 8, Declan Rice. No Kai Havertz in this team. No Trossard in this team either. And then obviously our right 8/10, Ødegaard captain, Bukayo Saka at right wing up against Delo. Delo played left back. He had a very high rating on the One Football app. Not that I'm promoting any apps. Other apps are available, as a certain Mr. Ty says. Gabriel Jesus back up front, even though Nketiah has been brilliant, and it's very likely Nketiah that will start Jesus off the bench, but I've gone with my team, not Arteta's team, because Arteta might end up doing something completely different again. I'm going Jesus and then Martinelli on the left wing. Now that I've got it out there, maybe Nketiah should play there up front and Jesus come off the bench. And then Man United, I've gone with the same team that they played Nottingham Forest. So despite the fact that they're teasing the Arsenal fans for drawing, Arsenal drew a football game. They were atrocious in the first 10 minutes. They obviously conceded 2 goals and I didn't really see the build-up to the penalty, but there's people that maybe says it wasn't one. I didn't see the build-up to it, so I can't speak. But normally Man United gets dodgy penalties anyway. So they've got Onana, shocking goalkeeper, in goal. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, I do rate him, so he normally has a good game on their right side. Then you've got Martinelli up against him. You've got Varane and Martinez, the butcher. What butcher? I don't see any butcher there. And obviously Delo at left back. And then you've got Casemiro, Eriksen. That will be the double pivot midfield. I've pushed Eriksen a little bit higher up in those spaces, and as you can see, there's quite a bit of space, too much space. So obviously Declan Rice has to watch that side. Declan Rice is going to have to cover the left side because he's the left 8. So he's going to have to watch Wan-Bissaka and Anthony, whereas Arsenal can have 3 players that watches that space. Obviously Arsenal's going to have more of the ball. However, Man United will be dangerous on the counter-attack. And even though Anthony is crap, he has got speed, he's got trickery. So if he gets space there where Zinchenko is trying to invert, then they're going to cause problems on that side, especially with Anthony and Bruno pushing towards that side and Rashford and Martial pushing towards Saliba and White. So when Arsenal are pushing up, remember, there's a possibility that Zinchenko will be in midfield and White will be in midfield, and only Gabriel and Saliba, let's say maybe Thomas Partey as well as a back 3. So then it's 3 against 3 when we lose the ball, and we have been losing the ball quite a bit. So that is something that's going to be very, very dangerous. Eriksen, fantastic passer. Casemiro can break things up. However, we've got that too. We've got Thomas Partey that can break things up. He's called the Octopus. And you've got Rice that can push up and down as a box-to-box midfielder. And then Jesus and Nketiah can both press until they blue. They can press Onana, Varane, Martinez. Varane's a fantastic defender from over the years. However, I don't know. Obviously, he can pass well out from out the back under pressure. So when he receives the ball from Onana, he can get the ball to Casemiro and Eriksen. That's very good technicians. Casemiro is so good technically that he's able to keep the ball. However, we've got Rice and we've got Thomas Partey. So they've got threats. They have caused us problems. We dominated the game at Old Trafford, but due to our naive defending, which has still continued, Arsenal lost 3-1 there. However, at the Emirates, I thought Arsenal were exceptional, but Man United was exceptional too. A very close game. Nketiah scoring obviously 2 goals for Arsenal to win that game. So I'm confident that Arsenal will win, but I am obviously aware that Man United they've got the ability to do things. Rashford scored loads of goals against Arsenal. He scored a debut goal against Arsenal. Eriksen played really well at Old Trafford for Man United. Casemiro didn't play Arsenal last season. He was suspended for the Emirates Stadium game, and I don't remember him playing the Old Trafford game. He could have. I can't remember him playing that game. I do know Eriksen. No. It was Eriksen and McTominay that played. So Casemiro didn't play Arsenal last season. So this is the first time he gets to play against us. Martial, or is it Martial? You've got Bruno, slightly annoying players. Rashford, I obviously rate him highly. So he's going to be up against Ben White again like he did last season. So it's going to be once again a close game, I think it is. I've gone with Arsenal to win comfortably, but we do know that sometimes the mental aspect comes into play, and that is what Arsenal tend to struggle with at times. So I will leave it there for now, just a short Tuesday show. Once again, upcoming week, we basically got end of the week, the transfer window closes, and if there's any interesting news, then I will obviously mention it. Just a couple of tidbits. There's been talks of Emile Smith-Rowe to Chelsea. Chelsea made inquiries. There was a rumour that they made a swap inquiry with Mudryk, the 100 million man Mudryk, a swap for ESR. I bet you Chelsea wanted money and ESR for Mudryk. Maybe it was a loan swap agreement that they wanted to do, but according to someone that I follow on X, Arsenal rebuffed that, but things could start heating up as the week ends. Obviously, we've got Balogun that will probably be announced either tonight, maybe now as I'm busy recording, or tomorrow. Tavares to Nottingham Forest, so he will be joining Mr. Turner at Nottingham Forest. Initially, a week ago, it was said that Arsenal's going to get 30 million from Nottingham Forest, and now it's just a loan fee. So that was BS. But we accept that there's going to be players going. Pepe must still go. Cedric Suarez, there's no news on Cedric Suarez, and he's definitely not playing at this moment in time. I don't know if they're going to incorporate him into the team. I don't know if he's going to go maybe to Saudi Arabia or to Turkey or wherever. The transfer windows, that's a little bit later in September. And there's one I'm missing. Holding, of course, he might go as well, and Pepe might go to Besiktas or to Saudi Arabia. So there's quite a bit of transfer news. I might do a video, or I'll just do a in-depth analysis of the window as it's closing on my Thursday evening recording and Friday posting of the Gunning Truth show that is on Spotify and iTunes. So watch out for that. So I'm going to leave it at that. I think we really look forward to a fantastic game on Sunday. I will go more in depth with it. I did go a little bit in depth with a little screenshot that I had of the teams, but I'm confident that Arsenal can win. I'm confident that Arsenal's actually going to get this right when it comes to the formation. Maybe when we go back to 4-3-3, we'll be even better, but there is a threat. So banter aside, there's a threat from Manchester United. Arsenal do have a problem against Eric 10 out of 10 Hag. But we take it as it comes, and on Monday when I go back to the gym, I want to shove it up these guys. But we leave it at that. Come on, the Gunners, and please tune in to my show on Spotify, where I will be doing the audio version of the, what we call it the review of the Mancunian Arsenal game. Up the Arsenal.
Cadence.